Apart from that, I would say that one thing that I did extra in my attempt was this sheet work that I did. Apart from that, I think geography as an option is doing really well. There are many people scoring really good in geography optional. One needs to believe that if they have taken geography, they are really in a safe spot. There is nothing wrong with the optional. They might be wrong with the approaches, which can be corrected any day. Hello all, this is Anjali Shrotriya and I have secured AIR 44 in this year's UPSC Civil Services examination, and the optional for my preparation for entire 4 years was geography, and I got 276 marks in this attempt, and I think it's fairly good marks considering the average scores also this time. So I'll be sharing my strategy with you all, especially with how to overcome the fear of geography optional among the students which has now crept in, and also how to maximize your scores in geography if you are scoring average. So I'll start with very basic as to how to approach geography when you are just a beginner. So for anybody who's starting with geography, I would advise that there are certain blogs of various already who have cleared with geography optional, those people. So you can go through those blogs to understand what geography is and what the syllabus is about, and whether you really need to take this optional or not. The first one I would recommend is Mudit Jain sir's blog. He's already in IRS and he was ex-IPS. His blog on geography is very insightful in the sense that it deals entirely with the syllabus coverage. It also talks about the various other topper strategies also. So on one blog you will get everything very precisely. I followed his blogs very much and they have helped me a lot. Apart from that, there is also a talk of Ajay Jain sir on GS Core itself. I saw that talk and he has in depth talked about how to maximize your score. He was one of the persons who got more than 300 in geography. So one should also look at his strategy towards geography optional. Pratham sir's one written strategy is mentioned in which he talks about how to bring geography in answers as we talk about. So even that can also be referred to, and previous year questions can be seen. If you have done this basic work before taking geography optional, you are ready to go with the content that you have in your mind, that what you are going to get further in geography. Talking about the syllabus, we have two papers. In paper 1 it is of 250 and paper 2 is also of 250 marks. And we are trying to score somewhere above 300 to be in the top ranks. For me, I had learned the syllabus and I'll also share how I had learned it. I made a mnemonic and it was given by Pratham sir only. It was GEBCO. So this was geomorphology, environment geography, biogeography, climatology and oceanography. This combines your section A of geography paper 1. And then we have section B, which is mostly the human geography. That includes your thoughts, population, models and regional planning. And similarly for paper 2 also, I had a similar strategy. If you can see, it's a mnemonic only, which is PRATE CSPR. Again, Pratham sir had made it and it made me revise, it made me understand and actually memorize the syllabus in very short. So it is PRAIT CSPR that actually involves your entire syllabus of geography. So whenever I used to get the paper of geography in my exam hall, I used to write these keywords, GEBCO and PRATE CSPR, and on these lines I used to develop my answer also. So this is very important when it comes to approaching geography, because you have to be very thorough with the syllabus. Talking about the books, I would say for geography optional, if you are having optional, then please refer Savindra Singh for all the different editions of Savindra Singh for every part. Like for geomorphology, there is a separate Savindra Singh book. Similarly for environment geography, biogeography, climatology and oceanography. For models, you can go with Majid Hussain, and for thoughts also Majid Hussain's book is good. For regional planning, there is no need of any as such book which is available in the market. So this has to be done seeing the previous year questions and the class notes wherever one has done their foundation classes. For population and settlement, again it's a very dynamic topic. So class notes plus whatever current contemporary affairs we have been reading would suffice for this. And the best part about paper 2 is it is applied, totally applied. So there is no book which can actually teach you paper 2. Your class notes can serve as the reference, but you have to add on a lot when it comes to paper 2. So you can, for physical geography, I think one always can go with Khuller. But Khuller is a very big book So please don't be demotivated seeing the size of the book. You don't have to read it from cover to cover. Physical geography can be done from Kuller. I think rest of it is covered in various foundation classes if you have joined it. If you're not planning to join on one, then every topic is mentioned in the book itself. You can see it. But I would not say it is one-stop solution for every part of the syllabus that is given. You have to do extra efforts. So from here, I think the basic foundation is laid. One thing that I would like to focus and emphasize is in geography, it is very important to consolidate whatever has been prepared because it's a very huge optional. And there's a fear among students that since it's a very big option, it's impossible to revise. I would say this is the thing with every optional, that if you are not preparing consolidated notes or synopsis on the same day when your classes are held or when you're reading a subject, you will never be able to revise it in the given time frame of 5 days or 6 days. So similar is the case with geography. Please prepare 1-page notes for every topic that is mentioned in the syllabus. That is going to reduce your efforts a lot. You can also refer to Mudit sir's notes on every topic of the syllabus. He has given his concise notes. So that can give you an idea as to how you have to prepare your own notes. Again, please don't rely on his notes completely. Those notes were prepared way back in 2017. A lot has changed in geography, but they can actually serve as good point to start from, that how notes are to be prepared. He has compiled everything in 30 pages, every unit. So that is very good approach and strategy. I followed that from his notes. Apart from that, there are value additions that one needs to do in geography. For instance, if I talk about every question in geography can have a map. So a map is very, very essential. 15 seconds to 30 seconds can be given to draw an India map and a world map. So this has to be practiced on a daily basis. If map practice is not done, it cannot be replicated in the main examination. For 10 marker, you have to draw at least 1 map. For 15 marker, at least 2 maps, and for 20 marker, at least 3 maps have to be there in the answer. Schematics can be put in your answer of geography so that it looks a little more presentable, because there's a lot of competition, so you have to make your answers stand out from the rest of the crowd, and you can only do it with your maps, with the value addition in the content. I would say that do not run for a lot of content in geography, because there's unlimited content, especially when it comes to geography. With whatever you have and we have read in your foundation classes, revise it, compress it, and for value addition, just refer to down to earth some special editions. You can pick up case studies from there. Similarly, we all are reading daily newspapers. There are a lot of examples that are there in geography. Every day we find it. Make a separate Evernote for that, and you can include contemporary examples from newspapers daily. I think if done for a period of 1 year, you will have sufficient content to put in your answers for geography. There is nothing extra that one needs to do for geography. The most important part in geography is the previous year question papers. For myself, I used to do it with a friend of mine. You can create a group of 2-3 people, maximum 3, and you can divide the PYQs amongst your friends, and you can write the answers to those PYQs, and then you can discuss among your friends what particular dimension have I missed or what could be included more. This will give you answer writing practice. This will also help you to brainstorm those questions, and questions are very much on the lines of what has been asked in the previous year questions. Also, I would say that keep on enriching your content as and when it is possible, because geography is a very dynamic subject. So nothing is available in the books. It has to be your innovation in the exam hall that is going to fetch you more marks in geography, and plus focus on your presentation part. There's a second question which is coming to the minds of aspirants who are there, how to bring geography in our answers. So I would say that the mnemonic that I told in the beginning, which is GEPCO and PRAT, CSPR, that will actually bring the geography, because this is the entire syllabus of geography. So if there's a question, let's say, on what is the impact of desertification on India or probably on world, when I see this question, for me, introduction has to be with some report, with some UN based statistics for this particular question, so that there's a contextual introduction. I would not write the definition of desertification, because I think that is too bookish. You can start with certain reports, certain thing that looks more academic if you have read it. And then you can bring geography by telling that what is the impact of desertification. When we deal with geomorphology, you can think of geomorphological features, how geomorphological features are impacted by desertification. You can talk about environmental impact of desertification, that how soil fertility is being lost. In biogeography, we read about soil microorganisms, soil microbiomes. microbes. So how desertification is impacting them also adversely. Climatology talks about climate, how by desertification urban climates are being impacted. For oceanography, you would not get a point specifically, so you can leave this particular point. Then you can think about population and settlement, that when there is a desertification, there is an adverse impact not just on your physical geography, but also on the people who are living in a particular region. So you can talk about population, you can talk about settlements, that how settlements are moving away from places which are desertified. Here you can talk about conflict migration that we are now seeing in the Sahel region of Africa. So I have read about Sahel in my other notes, but since I am very thorough with my syllabus that I know that I have to bring one point of population, I can connect this with this example, and probably I can show it on a map of Africa, that how the conflict migration is happening in this particular region of Sahel because of desertification. Similarly, when I talk about desertification and regional planning, I can also include towards the end that how a planning of a region should be done in accordance with the various problems that are seen in the region, desertification being one of them. Similarly, you can include certain points from this particular section also. For instance, resource, that is, if desertification is more, then your water resource would be impacted, your forest and wildlife resource would also be impacted. I think we've covered around 7-8 points which are directly from the syllabus. You have also drawn a map and you have also included a good statistics. Towards the end, you can end with any sustainable development goal. You can also end how to stop desertification, India's contribution towards desertification. So when you have to write the conclusion, I used to always bring India aspect in my conclusion so that my answer looks very holistic. So India has been taking various steps for climate change, desertification. You can bring those into the aspect and you can give a good answer to this particular question. One important thing I missed out was what is the diagram for this particular question, let's say desertification. So there can be two diagrams, one can be India specific and one can highlight the areas where desertification and soil erosion is happening. One, you can also draw a world map showing the various areas where desertification is happening. You don't need to remember a map of desertification for that. I would say this is like innovation that you can do. For instance, where are the deserts in the world? Those are hotspots where desertification would also happen. The region around Sahara Desert, which is Sahel. Similarly, the region in Australia, the Gibson Desert, Great Sandy Desert. In India, it is the Thar Desert, Rajasthan, which is going into the desertification. Similarly, in Amazon area, there is desertification now happening. Wherever deforestation, Indonesia, other areas. So, with your existing knowledge, you can do create a world map and you can mark hotspots of desertification on world. So, you have around 2 maps in your answer. You have a good introduction, you have a good conclusion, and you have good 8 to 10 points for a desertification question. This is the geography that one needs to bring in. There is no need of any fancy geographer name to be put in to picture, or any fancy thing that you need to do, or any technicalities you need to bring in your answer to make it geographical. So I would say geography as a subject is very, very simple if you keep it simple. If you try to make it very complex, it can get as complex as even beyond that. So try to keep it very simple. Try to understand the question, the keywords of the question. If it is explained, then do explain it. If it is critically analyzed, write about the pros and cons and also write about what you feel. If it is a comment-based question, always give your comment because the question is asking you to comment on it. So write whatever the pros and the cons are there, and towards the end in a comment-based question, you write your comment that what you feel in your opinion. Please include statistics in your answer, that makes it look more academic. One important thing I would also talk about is value addition in geography that we would want to address. One is the map work that one needs to do. Apart from map, what is most important in geography is there is a map portion which comes around 20 marks. Nobody prepares for this map work. I think this can be prepared very, very intelligently. First of all the previous year entries that UPSC has asked, you can mark that on paper. Secondly, what you can do is that there are various coaching institutions during the mains examination, they come up with their map entries. You can collect those map entries. You will have around 200 map entries for that year. Along with the PYQs of UPSC, you will have around 800 map entries. Now, one need not to be boggled down by 800 map entries only for 20 marks. Because most of them are repeated. Sometimes you also remember them because you have read so much for prelims that you already know where this particular place is. So you can go ahead with the map entries like this. Case studies is something you can pick from Down to Earth, Yojana, Kurukshetra and newspaper on a daily basis. It cannot be done in one day. Try to include case studies in your paper wherever it is possible. Simply box it and write case study, make a map and just write 2 lines. That is your case study for geography. Test papers, I think for me it was it was other way around, because I had already written a lot of answers before my mains examination. So I never wrote full-fledged test series, but I used to collect those test papers, their solutions, and I used to see what all answers and questions have been asked. If I am missing out on something, I'll add it to my knowledge. But there are certain people who are not good with answer writing. They need to write at least 8 tests before the exam. Since the syllabus is so much, I would say that please memorize. Do not make notes and recycle those notes. Whatever notes you have, please memorize those notes. Memorization is the key to scoring good in any paper of UPSC. If there are 10 points on your tips, you'll be able to reproduce them. But if there are 20 points in your notes and you don't have even 1 point in your memory, you won't be able to reproduce it, how good soever your notes might be. So use various mnemonics, use tricks to memorize the content, the limited content that you have. I've already talked about the fear that is among the aspirants of geography, that it's not a good performing optional, and then there is a lot of need to change optional and take simple optionals like other optionals. But I would say that if you have given considerable amount of hard work and your time to geography, it is very, very good optional, because there's a lot of innovation you can do in geography, which is unlike in any other subject. There is no rote memorization you need to do in geography. It is a scientific subject. You need to understand the concept and write it in your own language. I used to find it very easy. Once I have analyzed the entire concept, I will write it in my own words and everybody would give me marks. For introduction and conclusion specifically, I would say that whatever topic is mentioned in the syllabus, you can prepare ready-made introductions and conclusions for that. There are certain areas which are favorites of UPSC. You can focus on those and you can prepare ready-made introductions and conclusions. I had it for almost around 70 to 80 topics. So that saved around 30 seconds of mine in every question. Now 30 seconds for one question multiplied by 20. It's huge saver. So I can utilize that time into some other question which I was not comfortable with. Apart from that, I would say that one thing that I did extra in my attempt was this sheet work that I did. What I did was, I'll just make a rough the sheet that I prepared was for that there are various geographers that we encounter in geography, and it's very difficult to remember their names because they are scattered. So what I did was I took a sheet and I prepared various columns and I just wrote the name of the geographer that I need to remember, the year in which he had given some important work, the name of his book, and I used to remember the full name of geographer. If it is Köppen, I used to remember it as Vladimir Köppen. The full name of the geographer, the year in which he gave his theory, the name of the book or the paper that he had written, and the country that he belonged to. So if there is a question on climate change, or if there is a question on any other topic which is related to climate, I made sure that I included Vladimir Köppen's name so that the person who's checking the paper would know that I am academically sound. And I did not do this just for models, theories and thoughts, which are the 2 important topics, but I did it for every topic. For instance, there is a topic called isostasy in geography. There are various geographers which are associated with isostasy like Dutton, like Hayford, Bowie, Airy, Pratt. I wrote their full names, their books, their years. Fortunately, there were many questions this time that were very general in nature, but since I had the name of the geographers already prepared on one single sheet, I could remember them and I could replicate in my own answer copy also, which made it look more geographical. So this is how you can make your answers more geographical. I would like to also add the fact that you can also practice diagrams. One more thing that I did was that I had one copy, 2 copies particularly for paper 1 and paper 2, and I combined all the diagrams of geography in these 2 copies. So for paper 1, I had made all the diagrams in 1 copy. For paper 2, I had made all the diagrams in 1 copy. And before going to the exam hall in the break and even in the morning, I just used to revise these diagrams before going, so that it is fresh in my memory. So if you have time, you can also make these kinds of copies and short tricks so that you are able to make your answers look more presentable and more nice. Apart from that, I think geography as an option is doing really, really well. There are many people scoring really good in geography optional. One needs to believe that if they have taken geography, they are really in a safe spot. There is nothing wrong with the optional. There might be wrong with the approaches, which can be corrected any day. For me, it has worked. I got 263 last time, and this year I have improved to 276. I think I can even improve if given a chance. So have faith in whatever you have read. Your content is sufficient. There might be more content coming up in the market, and there is no end to that content. Just revise the PYQs and the brainstorming part and the extra value additions that you can do, and get over the fear of geography. There is no need to be fearful of any subject. So if you have done the right preparation for geography, it is definitely going to yield you the results. This would be my take on geography as my optional.